In today's Neville Goddard conversation, we explore two questions he was asked. Number one, the questioner asked, I have been taught not to ask for earthly things, only for spiritual growth, yet money and things are what I need. Number two, the questioner asked, is it possible to imagine several things at the same time, or should I confine my imagining to one desire? So before we get into discussion, my inspiration for putting together this video was an experience I had a few weeks ago. April 25th was my birthday, and a few weeks leading up to it, I saw a comment that caught my eye on my Instagram, and when I clicked over to the profile, it was for the username New Creation Pottery. His name is Brad Dalton. So throughout his profile, he displayed these wonderful handmade mugs, and he makes them. And I really like them. I'll link in the description to his Instagram if you'd like to see them. So I remember I was at the gym and I saw them, and I said to myself, these are nice. I'd like to get one of these. And then a little while, perhaps a few days later, he sent me a DM for the first time, and it said, I'll read it here. What a treat it is to enjoy your videos. Through your guidance and somehow friendship in conversation, I am becoming more true. The flow is on in a more sustainable way. I'd like to send you a special gift. So I sent him my mailing address, and then a few days prior to my birthday, I received an email that a package had arrived. And so it happened to be that I had some time that day to pick up my mail, as my business mailing address is different from my home address. So I walked over, picked up a box along with my other mail, went home and opened it, and it was one of those mugs. And I love it. So thank you, Brad. I know you watch my videos, and if anyone is watching who also is on my Instagram, you would have seen that last week I had posted a picture on my stories with the mug and a handwritten letter he wrote me that he sent with the mug. So I'll read it here. It says, Joseph, here's to imagining something so big it includes all the little things. Here's to allowing ourselves to go into the feeling of ecstatic. Here's to becoming vibrant, our true selves. Let's be in love with life and in harmony with the divine dance. May this be a reminder of how bright you shine. And so it was extra special that it showed up on my birthday. So I messaged to thank him and mentioned that it showed up on my birthday, and he didn't even know it was my birthday. And so isn't it wonderful that this kind of synchronistic magic related to imagining big, going to the end, imagining ideally, whatever that means for you, plays out as a pleasant, surprise-based bridge of incidents to realizing that end. And all in harmony related to imagining the end, which to me is acceptance that you already are the ideal you desire to be now, felt in sheer ecstasy, because it includes all the little things. And although big and little are subjective words, I'm sure we can all relate to Neville's message of going to the end, imagining and accepting only what implies the end. That's the way it is. To embody the feeling of the ideal state, as it includes everything that is ideal, as articulated in the question he was asked. Again, is it possible to imagine several things at the same time, or should I confine my imagining to one desire? In which his response was, personally, I'd like to confine my imaginal act to a single thought, but that doesn't mean I will stop there. During the day, I may imagine many things, but instead of imagining lots of small things, I would suggest that you imagine something so big it includes all the little things. Instead of imagining wealth, health, and friends, imagine being ecstatic. You could not be ecstatic and be in pain. You could not be ecstatic and be threatened with a disposition notice. You could not be ecstatic if you are not enjoying a full measure of friendship and love. What would the feeling be like were you ecstatic without knowing what had happened to produce your ecstasy? Reduce the idea of ecstasy to the single sensation. Isn't it wonderful? Do not allow the conscious reasoning mind to ask why, because if it does, it will start to look for visible causes, and then the sensation will be lost. Rather, repeat over and over again, isn't it wonderful? Suspend judgment as to what is wonderful. Catch the one sensation of the wonder of it all, and things will happen to bear witness of the truth of this sensation. And I promise you, it will include all the little things. So we realize that this journey of life is really about accepting that you already have everything, and that everything happens automatically from that premise. We can capture the feeling, imagining ourselves into the ideal ecstatic state of all desires fulfilled, which I believe includes everything we could ever desire, which from that premise, everything ideally related happens automatically for us. We simply release the need to control. It is all done for us by the unseen. And so I wouldn't consider one way better than another. I do both, as he mentioned, specific and general, as I believe they imply the same thing. We already are the ideal we desire to be now. And we realize it or experience this more so every day. What started out for me in 2004 with Think and Grow Rich, to imagine getting out of $50,000 debt, which happened and brought me through all the years of applying this information and all the other visions realized over to Neville's information, this still remains one of my favorite passages. And so what this journey is experienced like for me and many who I've spoken with who have also confirmed this is about accepting that you already have everything you desire now. You have everything. You are complete inside by simply assuming that's how you are. We capture the feeling now. And call me stubborn, but I like to remain in that state because I realize that from this premise, and I have many more stories I've shared over the years, everything happens automatically and ideally to reflect this ideal state of consciousness. And you and I are no different. This is one consciousness, and we accept that we already are the ideal we desire to be, and we meet in that flow. So not tomorrow, next week, next year, now. You already are the ideal you desire to be now. I like how James Allen said it in The Heavenly Life. He said, "The dwellers in the kingdom of God who live only in the now say, 'I am perfect now,' and ceaselessly guarding the portals of the mind, not looking to the past, nor the future, nor turning to the left or right, they remain eternally holy and blessed. Say to yourself, 'I will live in my ideal now. I will manifest my ideal now. I will be my ideal now. And all that tempts me away from my ideal, I will not listen to. I will listen only to the voice of my ideal.'" And so whatever you desire when applying this information, accept that it is already yours. You know what you want. You know how you want to live. You know how you desire to be. We are instructed to accept that which we desire is already done for us, and it happens. We let it happen, like in Genesis. Let there be light. It doesn't say force the light, control the light, manipulate the light. It says let there be light. And we let it happen. the only way we can force, control, and manipulate to create the illusions of holding ourselves back, which I would consider imagining undesirable, is to not accept that what we already desire is already done for us. And so I recommend letting go of unnecessary beliefs of shame and lack of acceptance, to let it all happen for you in your own style. One way is not better than the other, as he says here in the next question. And so the question was asked, I have been taught not to ask for earthly things, only for spiritual growth. Yet money and things are what I need. In which he responded, you must be honest with yourself. All through Scripture, the question is asked, what do you want of me? Your dimensionally larger self speaks to you through the language of desire. Do not deceive yourself. Knowing what you want, claim you already have it, for it's your Father's good pleasure to give it to you, and remember, what you desire, that you have. You see, each person has a personal relationship with their dimensionally larger self, who speaks to them through the language of desire. And I remember a while back, I would talk about my desires with others. They would seem to deny them. Upon reflection, they were only reflecting beliefs of lack of self-acceptance. And as I released them, exactly like he says here in the following, all those experiences of seeming denial no longer exist. Nobody shows up to deny them now. The world is a theater of mind, playing out to reveal the contents of mind. Remember, as Neville has stated many times, you are formless awareness, and you choose what state you occupy. I suggest ideal, and the world reflects accordingly. As he says, the habit of seeing only that which our senses permit renders us totally blind to what we otherwise could see. To cultivate the faculty of seeing the invisible, we should often deliberately disentangle our minds from the evidence of the senses and focus our attention on an invisible state, mentally feeling it and sensing it until it has all the distinctness of reality. So you have all the power. You don't believe anything that says otherwise. Otherwise, one might forfeit their freedom to choose the state. The kingdom within is made up of infinite states, and the kingdom is yours, given to you by grace. And each state is a world, and you choose your state. And so as he says here, the ways that I do the part, disentangle my mind from the evidence of the senses if I find myself in an undesirable state. And how do you know what state you're in? Observe your thoughts and emotions. They reveal your state. So the ways, well, first, I don't believe that the senses deny. They may only appear that way, as mentioned, from past beliefs, which we do not need to give them any more power by identifying with the beliefs. And a few ways I do this is to assume that I already am ideal now. I have everything, complete now. And this causes you to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled. It implies to me, isn't it wonderful? That feeling of ecstatic. Another way is to imagine a scene that would imply that you already are the ideal you desire to be. And then you remain in the state of the wish fulfilled. And you could also say something to yourself, thinking feelingly, like he said, isn't it wonderful to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled? Also, to disentangle your mind from the evidence of the senses. You can observe the experience without reacting. letting the thoughts and emotions be. This is powerful if you are not recalling what to imagine or say to yourself to imply. This releases back into your ideal state. You literally release control and leave it to the unseen by this act, or we could say non-act. You release into your ideal now. Now, all of these ways work perfectly, so allow yourself to choose whatever one at whatever moment, and through the repetition, you remain as the ideal that you always desire to be, the state that includes everything that you desire. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's go ahead and conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You could say, I accept that I already am the person that I desire to be in totality, which reflects as ideal reflections in my life as far as my senses perceive. I accept that all things and all changes happen automatically by the unseen to reveal that consciousness is ideal now, as I already am the ideal I desire to be now. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.